What's up, dudes? Welcome back to another episode of Rhomas Men's Team. Pretty simple. We are a group of guys helping each other make progress towards each other's goals. If you're new to the channel, awesome and welcome. If you want to help support the channel and join our pro team, head over to romasteam.com/pro, where you can contribute to us on a donation basis. We also give you access to exclusive content, mastermind groups, etc., etc. So anyway, hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the team. We are live, Rhomas Men's Team. Pretty simple. We help each other reach each other's goals. You got Mr. Luke, Mr. Ray. Ray, what's up, brother?
Life is good, Wes. It's starting to get cool and breezy up here in Toronto, but it's nice. The changing of the seasons, that's something you lost in that Faustian bargain.
That's right. That's right, yeah. Never looked back, man. Orange County, and that was 12 years ago. Actually, 12 years ago this month, funny enough. But yeah, never looking back, brother. However, the East Coast, I was just in the East Coast for basically the East Coast for some seminars we had to run, and the weather was just absolutely stunning, just gorgeous. Crisp air, 65, 70 degrees, just perfect.
Did you have finance, bro, like blue vests,
Yeah, it's that one I borrowed from you. Remember that?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Do they do that in Ireland, Luke? That kind of finance form?
I don't think so. It's kind of like a gilet maybe over the shirt. Yeah.
And that's Wes, can you remind me what a gilet is?
I have zero clue what a gilet is.
You'll have to Google it. You'll know exactly what it is.
It's like
how do you even spell? I feel like it's like one of those words that like starts with like a letter Y or something like that. How do you spell it?
Like Siobhan?
It is Gillet.
Gilet versus vest. There's like a whole like Reddit devoted to it. What's up?
Yeah.
So does a gilet have like a zipper? Interesting. Gilet.
Yeah.
Wes just ordered 10.
No,
Yeah,
Wes,
right.
I think it's just the European name for that kind of barbour finance vest that we're talking about. It's quilted. Right?
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Mike's probably wearing one right now.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. So anyway, let's get to some real stuff. I actually heard a great quote over the weekend. I think it was from some football coach, maybe Bill Parcells, that said, "When are you going to stop letting good enough be good enough?" And I thought that was outstanding. But Luke, let me throw the ball over to you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
How do you interpret that, though? So does that mean
I think
when are you gonna stop thinking you're good enough is actually good enough? Is that the context behind that?
Yeah. I think if I had to throw my vote in the ring, it's that it's really not the bad that we're fighting against. It's just the mediocre. I would argue. The bad is actually really easy to fight against because it's so obvious and there's so much discomfort that, right? Like it's very clear. Oh, I'd rather work than eat this, or I'd rather work than being shamed by whatever. It's just when you get in the center of the herd, they're like, oh, okay, right. I might not be at the tip of the spear of the herd and getting the first crack at all the fresh berries or whatever, but at least I'm not on the back end of the herd and therefore exposed to the most risk. So what are your thoughts, Luke?
Yeah, no, I think that's interesting actually, because it's the whole risk reward thing. It's just spun around in a different light, really. Like, I mean, if you think about it, if you take maximum risk, you can take the most amount of hit or the most amount of reward. Really, it depends,
Yeah, 100%.
No, it's an interesting quote though, because it makes you think like you'll never really reach the pinnacle of what you can achieve if you don't really take the maximum risk. And I think it only works because there's such a small amount of people that will take that risk. Like, I think if we're to talk, I'm quite risk averse when it comes to personal choices, let's say, because I don't have that context or I don't have that experience of doing something really risky and being rewarded for it. So I think every risk is huge, yeah. Whereas the perfect example you made the last day was you have your scope or you have your anchor there, and you know that every risk, nothing is as great as the risks or your experiences. So I think that only applies to people that have really lived like risky lives, possibly. Maybe, I don't know if I'm overthinking it, but
yeah, well, I think back to what we were saying, a week ago or whatever it was, is that risk is relative. A guy who's betting, $100,000, but who's worth $100 million, it might as well be monopoly money to him.
Correct.
Versus a guy who's betting $1,000 who only makes 50,000, right? And that $1,000 is going to feed his family. Then yeah, that's a disproportional risk. Ray, what say you about you got to stop letting good enough be good enough?
Yeah, I think what comes to mind for me is the bare minimum, right?
Test.
Like, and when we do the bare minimum in anything, is that really good enough? Are we really being good ambassadors for, men everywhere? If you're doing the bare minimum as a father, if you're doing the bare minimum as work, as a safe driver, like whatever in terms of your diet, if you're doing the bare minimum, right? Is that good enough? And of course it's not, right? Bare minimum means like, bare minimum probably doesn't include effort, discipline, integrity, doing something for your future self does not include bare minimum. Like now, in different seasons in our life, we have to do that. Like when we're going through a divorce, or when we're fired, or when we're faced with a serious medical emergency, or we try to get Oasis tickets and we don't get the kind of like reservation link. Like we are in survival mode, right? And so I think in survival mode, the bare minimum is what we do. That's our code. But I would hope that we would try for more than just survival, right? We want to thrive. We want to succeed. We want to do our best. And that's what comes to mind for me.
Awesome. I love it. Well, we have a special guest, a ghost from Christmas past. Let's bring him on. Phil, what's up, brother?
Phil.
Yo, what up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Hey, it works.
Yeah, man.
Wow. I'm blessed today. My microphone works, guys.
Wes, don't tell him how, don't give him a 1 to 10 on how his mic's working, okay? Let's just roll it.
Yo, how you motherfuckers been doing?
How's your journey, Phil?
I've been sleeping. Recently I've awoken from my slumber because I have to, or I'm gonna fucking starve and die soon. So I've been working like crazy. Well, I've been working hard, not like crazy yet. I'm trying to work up, getting better though.
Awesome.
But yeah, man, I've been trying to work hard recently, and it's going all right.
And you're doing DoorDash and stuff, and paying your bills and all that.
I haven't been doing much DoorDash just because I don't have my car's not good mileage right now, but I do that. But I've mostly just been taking a lot of overtime.
In the fulfillment center.
Yeah. Yeah, been working.
Now, does this leave you time to follow your passion, which is gaming and game development and all that?
No, but that's just because I've been so lazy for so long that I'm in debt right now in life. So I'm paying off my debt, not just money, but I'm paying off, karmic debt, and that's what I'm working out of. And I'll get back to the stuff later. Those are more luxuries, at the moment.
Phil, do you mind if I give some commentary to what's landing on my side?
Get his ass, Wes. Get him.
No, so this is a huge compliment. And I'm making an assumption, so I want to, either get that confirmed or denied. This is probably the most upbeat that I've heard you maybe ever. And I'm saying that out of love, right? And as a good sort of feedback mechanism. And it's really cool to hear. And I wonder if that's correlated with that you've just been chopping wood, whether or not you like that job or not, right? It's like it feels it. I'm assuming, or if I could relate it all, it's like, hey, even if I'm doing a job I don't like, I know that I'm doing what I can.
Action, dude.
Yeah.
Mood.
So,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
between the lines, like, please, provide any substance to that.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing I need to get on next, which is my next, I'm going to do that today, is physical exercise. I mean, luckily my job right now is somewhat taxing, but so I get a lot of steps and I get some exercise, but I haven't been going to the gym, which I need to do. Yeah, I've just been reminded of that a lot by a lot of different people recently. That I forget who it was. I just heard recently said that if I'm not working out, like I try not to even judge my mental state because it's obviously going to be a disaster because that's I'm not working out. So if you're not working out, don't even try to psychoanalyze yourself because you know what the problem is.
Yeah, man.
And
I'm thinking like, how are you going to rank the performance of your car if your gas tank is completely empty? Right. That's actually a great contribution, Phil, because yeah, I've been avoiding the gym. I'm in my kind of hibernating bear kind of era, and yeah, like that is the obvious number one thing to test. Like, do I have schizophrenia? I mean, I don't know. Am I doing my best with vigorous exercise to regulate my mental health? No. Well, maybe we try that first, rather before you put on all the sensors, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing okay. And yeah, Wes, I have yeah, I don't know. I've been feeling I don't know. I've been feeling like yeah, I don't know what the source of it is. I think partially it is partially the work, but I think partially also I'm starting to finally kind of, get to a place in life where I have kind of gotten a little bit, just not even that much, but just slightly out of my kind of extreme self-hatred and stuff. I've been noticing that. I think part of that too, because I live a very isolated life in general. I don't have a lot of, I don't really get out much, and as depressing and stupid as this might be, but honestly, just working a job around other people rather than a job, because my software job used to be mostly at home. Working a job around other people is helping too. But yeah, I don't know. But Mike's also been freaking killing it recently. Let's hear about him. What's up, Mike?
He looks kind of
like
isolated. And so MFG, this is something we talked about in the last session, right? Like, how do you fight off isolation, even as you are kind of isolated geographically, it seems?
Yeah, I mean, it's you're as isolated as you kind of make yourself be. I mean, I've been in places where I'm surrounded by fucking people, and I've never felt more lonely. And I've been, in my van by myself in a parking lot and felt complete fulfillment. So I think that I think vigorous exercise, as Phil was saying, is and you also, Ray, is wildly underrated. I mean, I went through this myself last week, kind of got turned around on me, so ended up working a few days I didn't expect, and by Sunday morning, I was all just which is a gift that I was able to recognize that, like, all right, I'm being what is now uncharacteristically spazzy or anxious or wound up, I guess. And this was before, I don't know, it's like 7 in the morning on Sunday. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, let me just get up. Got up before the girl, went to the gym before church, did like a couple hundred push-ups, 100 pull-ups, dips, body weight squats. And it's amazing just getting out of your head and into your body. And I found that in the past, my go-to would be to go hop on the Stairmaster and do like vigorous cardio. And that's great. But what I'm finding is that is like a repetitive motion. You know what I mean? You can kind of zone out. And at times, my mind is like a bad neighborhood. I don't really want to go there alone. So like if I get on the Stairmaster, sometimes it can be like, okay, cool, I'm in a good space. Let me ride this endorphins and bust through this cardio. You know, and other times you get on there and then it's just like, this hurts, that hurts. Oh, what the fuck? What did they mean by that? And then you're just digging yourself deeper in. Whereas when you can kind of add some, and I've been finding, I don't know if it's just age or what it is, but finding those type of movements, like they're the most simple, just push-ups, pull-ups, bodyweight squats. You know what it feels like when that movement is correct. You know what your body feels like when you're doing a push-up, where you feel it in your back, where you feel it in your leg. You know what I mean? And you can start to like, it kind of brings you back into yourself, as insane as that may sound. But it fucking works. And it's all of a sudden you go do that, it just changes it just a little bit. Because a lot of times it feels like, for me, especially in the beginning of the day or inside of my own head, it's like that analogy where I don't know who used it, but I think Tony Robbins talks about if you're in two ships and one is just several degrees off track, then you get 1,000 miles away, and it's deviated tremendously from the original path. Whereas like it's very easy if you wake up a little fucked up and you know, before you go meet the world, you haven't gotten your own ducks in a row, or at least to like a reasonable assessment of baseline, then you know, by noontime, 2 in the afternoon, you've now created all kinds of like collateral damage. You've spun out into a spiral of what's going to go wrong. It's really exciting. So yeah, man, exercise helps, and just doing the next right thing.
I love that, Mike. I love what you said about get out of your head, get out of your mind and into your body, because guys like me and Luke, all we're doing is just kind of like spinning out up here, thinking, why am I unfulfilled? Why am I not happy? Why do I just want to go straight to bed when I get home? And so, Wes, what do you think of that? Get out of your mind and into your body.
Absolutely.
As a mental model mantra.
Yeah, without a doubt. And ideally, if you can, in a team, you know, if like you nest that in something in a team like we talked about last week. I think it, at least, has been a game changer for me. So, Luke, which by the way, you Irish guys, what's the what do you guys call it? Like your
the Irish mafia, huh?
Yeah, your family. Is it a shield? Like, what's the
crest?
What's like
the crest.
The crest. Okay, and then do you how seriously do you treat that? Do you each like have like what? I'm curious about all your family crests.
No, that's kind of a gimmicky thing. I think it's almost like a tourist attraction for
American
people.
tourists, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a huge thing here.
Growing up, I had my parents had it, but kid you not, my friend Matt Sheedy, Sheddy, went back to Ireland and bought one of his crest and the meaning of his family names things, and he got it tattooed on him, but he got the Crest Company logo tattooed, which was like a kind of phoenix rising from the ashes instead of his family crest. And so, yeah, mine is like a knight's head with 3 mermaids, or sometimes a boar's head with 3 mermaids.
Okay.
So yeah,
you know what I've been trying to think about recently is how my default mindset for so much of my life has always been like leisure oriented, because I've been like, if you know, if I'm working, I'll just be like constantly thinking, like every second, if I'm not enjoying the work, I'll be like, I just got to get through this until I can not work anymore, you know? And so like, that's been my mindset of like, this is almost over. And then I can go home and like lay on the couch or whatever. And I've been trying to think like, that's just, I mean, it's a terrible mindset, because it's going to make it very difficult to get anywhere if I'm constantly thinking like, you know, how can I spend as much time as possible laying around or whatever, doing whatever I want, you know, whatever my emotions want me to do in the moment, and trying to get back and trying to build up a habit of having the mindset of no, this is just the way it is, and it's fine, right? Because like it's obviously, like, from a stoic or a meditative mindset, it's like there's no real difference between laying on the couch or working. It's just how you perceive them or whatever. And trying to get into that state of like, I'm just going to completely babble, guys, about this because this is totally foreign to me. Like, yeah, just like, because right now I need to just like work every single day if I can. I need to make $200 every day for the rest of the year. And yeah, and so like I need to like not be like, okay, well, I can take all this time. I've done enough now. I can chill for a while and try to get into the mindset of like, no, like I have free time at the moment. How can I spend this time effectively? And I don't know. I was trying to get at something. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I'm just.
Well, I think for nothing else, it's noticing that your mind doesn't stop and it can drift from the activity at hand. And honestly, there's always this grass is always greener on the other side, right? Like I've noticed that if I lay down for an extended period of time, watch a movie or whatever, I start thinking like, oh, I should be working. And then if I'm working, I'll start thinking, well, like I deserve to be laying down. It's just like this natural ping pong of the brain. Luke, can you relate at all?
100%. And Phil, I've not met you, so it's a pleasure to see you here. But it's interesting because what you're talking about, there's an almost like canned or reserved enthusiasm about what you're talking. Like you might not be trying to express it, but from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you have a plan. You're sticking to it. You've done a bit of it already, so you know you can do it. And there's an almost kind of like, I know what's going on next. I know where I need to go. And that in itself, to me, is powerful because it's not knowing where you need to go is the scariest part, I find. Like you've said there, I need to do this every day for the rest of this year. I need to be working these. So you've already listed off several things that you need to do. The risk, I think, is when it comes to me and Ray, and I don't know who else, but there's times when we're going through the motions and we don't know what we need to do. So there's a real lack of kind of urgency or call to action because we're not at a risk of certain things. You're saying I need to do this, so you know what you have to do and you're actioned and powered towards it. That's positive, man. I can really feel an enthusiastic kind of feeling from that, or maybe I'm feeling enthusiastic from it. You've spurred me on to do something like that. So I think you're saying, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about, or you know exactly what you're talking about. You sound to me like somebody who knows they're moving in the right direction or they're moving towards something that's going to turn around and that's looking good for them.
Yeah, this is premium.
Yeah,
we're getting premium Phil today.
Hey,
Say, Luke,
thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate that.
But yeah, like when I'm listening as well to Ray there, like exactly the same as me. This whole get out of your mind and into your body, exactly what Mike said. Because when I spend too much time in my body, my mind, that's when I jump to conclusions, and all the conclusions are catastrophizing. So when I overthink something, I don't go, if I don't do this, I might go here. I go right to the end, then I go, that's the end of everything. I'll ruin everything. And this whole, going to the gym for an hour or 2 hours or doing something, when you get out of your own head, it's unreal because you get that kind of reprieve or a bit of a respite from your own kind of negative thoughts, I suppose. And that's the same thing you're getting, Phil, through work as well. Like you're hyper focused on where you need to go. You're planned. And with Mike as well, when he's talking about getting up, getting at it, like I'm trying to do the same myself. The last week I've been getting up every morning before work to go to the gym to get myself in the right headspace. So, whatever, you get up at 5:30, it sucks. It's shit, but you get in there and then you've set yourself up for the day. So what I find is if I kill myself in the morning in terms of workout, every challenge after that feels just that little bit less. It takes the edge off a little bit when people are coming with their problems. Yeah. That's not that big of a deal, So that has such a compounding effect, I find. Because once you do that so many days, you're like, this is easy. I can do this. And that's what I found maybe over the last kind of 7 or 8 days, I think, when I've done it. I'm like, this is not as difficult as I thought this was going to be. And it's almost like I've told myself a story. Like, this is going to be the hardest thing I've ever done, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then when you do it, you're like, that wasn't really that hard. I'm over exaggerating as usual. And then you do it and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, you know?
That's the really crazy thing that I've noticed a lot through life, even though I feel like I've made very little progress towards staying in that mind, in the positive side of this. But like, it's really crazy how strong the feeling of not wanting to do things is, when even when I have experienced over and over that exactly what you just said. Like, it's not really that bad at all. I mean, rarely, sometimes it is kind of miserable, but that's usually not the case. And but the emotions, it just stays there, and it's just because I'm not trying hard enough to be mindful enough to just question that emotion when it happens. Really, like,
yeah, but you must. You're the same as me, Phil. Like, it's so comforting to put a limit on yourself. Like, if I let the negative emotions in, there's a comfort there, because
yeah,
the negative emotion is telling you you can't do that. And how comfortable is that to cage yourself? Because I do it all the time.
That's
I'm
something.
like, I couldn't do that. So I don't have to prove it.
Yeah, exactly. That's something that I've really been noticing a lot recently, and it's embarrassing that I'm 30, in my 30s, and like just starting to really grasp this more concretely. But it's like, it's crazy how many, because like there's so many things that I've like really screwed up in the last 5 or 10 years or so, that like, in hindsight, I'm like, if I had just done this one thing, that whole problem that caused this giant amount of chaos in my life wouldn't have even happened. But I didn't even see that problem at all, or that solution at all, at the time, because, and I realize now that this is so obvious, and it's embarrassing that I'm realizing this in my 30s. But like, the reason why I'm not seeing that is because I don't want, like, I not just that I don't want to see it, but that I want to not see it, because I want the comfort, because I'm addicted to the comfort. And so I'm highly motivated to not look for solutions, because I'm trying, the goal for me emotionally is to avoid the thing that I'm afraid of. So I'm winning by not finding solutions.
Yep. Go ahead, MFG.
Can I speak to that for a minute? So
Yeah.
I think that there is something to be said for comfort, Phil, and I mean this with all love and respect, but I've gotten to know you well enough, and I don't think that your current circumstances are your ideal ones, or one that you would find to be permanently comfortable. Is that fair to assume?
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's the case, then are we really seeking comfort? Are we running towards pleasure and away from pain? Because that is certainly a dynamic that exists within all of us, and I think it's important to keep that in our sights. However, in instances like what you're talking about, Phil, where you're, kind of addressing yourself directly and being like, okay, well, I need to stop seeking the comfort, as though that you're doing something wrong. Where on the inverse of that, or rather, kind of something, a different angle, is sometimes we want to be right more than we want to be happy, or at least our brains want to be right or correct more than they want to be happy. And biologically, and from an evolutionary standpoint, we're wired for survival, and part of survival is to be right, because if you're right about something, you build that narrative, and then you're going in that direction. So if you really believe that you don't have the capacity or the willpower, or however you want to phrase it, to do more than you're currently doing, well, then the best thing that your brain can do for you is to make you be lazy, because then, okay, you believe this, you're right, look at you go. That becomes a positive feedback loop. Now, Luke, what you were talking about earlier is getting into the gym and kind of, getting you on the right track for the day. I think a big part of that is the ability to change your internal narrative. Like we hear all the time, things don't get easier, you get tougher, right? Things don't get less scary, we get more brave. So sometimes we have to treat ourselves like we're not ourselves, like we're somebody else that we care for deeply. So when we go to the gym in the morning, or we accomplish these tasks that we have to get done, it creates a new framework. where you're creating a new internal narrative where it's like, you know, it only takes so many days before all of a sudden now it's like, well, I'm going to the gym because I'm somebody that goes to the gym. That's what I do. I've done it the last however many days, weeks, months, whatever your streak is. And then before you know it, now you feel your brain feels wrong when you don't go to the gym. So it wants to make you right. So then very quickly, these habits, we're no longer in a position like you were talking about, Phil, where we have to like fucking micromanage ourselves because that's exhausting. You know what I mean? We can't spend our whole lives in analysis of, well, why am I thinking this? Why am I doing that? What am I doing wrong to put me in that direction? You know, and it's really, I believe it comes down more to like, all right, what is it that we want to do? And then go make yourself become that through force of will initially. And there is resistance against it. But if we go into it with our eyes open and know that we're not just spinning our fucking wheels or going to do pull-ups or going to do something trivial, but if we look at in someone that speaks wonderfully to this, and it's actually how I start my day just about every day, is listening to David Goggins compilations while I'm working out. Now, it sounds absurd to most people. It sounds rah, 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 and just purely motivational. But if you have read the man's books and you hear the philosophy, you can hear that it's more of a testament to like that he is not that guy by default. But you can create, and you don't have to be that guy either. I'm never going to be that fucking guy, right? But I can choose who I'm going to be, and to see someone else do that, and then you build that belief. So by the time that I'm dealing with anyone, really, hopefully, ideally, before I'm really even dealing with my own thoughts, you know, I've gotten into my body, I've got blood moving, I'm fucking hydrated, I'm stacking as many of the odds in my favor, and changing that perspective on things, because so much of what the compilation is, it's not about like, oh, I'm gonna kill this and we're gonna be the best and rah rah. It's like, that's great, but it's more of like, fuck, I don't feel like doing this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. And not to be tougher than anyone else, but just to callous your fucking soul. You know what I mean? And it's for me, I mean, I think about it all the time because, you know, I'm 40 now, and most of my life has been spent aggressively in pursuit of things, you know, and I've had those times where I think like, okay, well, what is it that I want to do? What is it? Where's the rest? Where do I get the break? And you start to think, well, okay, well, I don't want to do this forever, so let me not do that. I don't want, as opposed to like, it feels better to be in pursuit. And I've gotten the chance to know enough guys, especially up here in Maine, guys that own small businesses that have really, you know, from nothing, built it where they have 40, 50 acres, a little family compound. They have a small business where they make $300,000-400,000 grand a year. They got a couple other kids working for them. And you see that, and that to me is the fucking goal. That like, to always have projects going. I want to fucking die with unfinished projects. I want somebody to be showing up, you know, when I'm fucking 90, looking at blueprints, being like, what the fuck was he doing? You know what I mean? Like, because I don't think that we should seek comfort or rest or achievement, but rather the never-ending pursuit. You know, and maybe that's unhealthy. Maybe that's wrong. I think along that path, there's time to take reflection and obviously enjoy the ride too. But I think, at least for, and I won't speak for anyone else, but for myself, I've come to the realization that it's going to be this way forever. I'm always going to be striving. I mean, look at guys like Larry, and he still has goals, and he still doesn't feel like he's doing enough. And I'll tell you, he's got enough of a lifetime worth of achievement to inspire me that he may be on the right path. But that's all I wanted to say, Phil, before it turns into you beating yourself up for sitting on the couch.
No, I hope it. No, I hope it. I mean, I hope it didn't sound that way. I know that's that, you know, obviously that's always, there's this, you know, bullshit underneath that inside me that's that. But I wasn't even thinking that at all. Like, you know, I was just listening yesterday to a really old episode of Dad Meat where I think it was a couple days after they all went to Wes's house and did the programming thing for the first time, and Billy and Spud were on the episode, and it was just so good because Billy and Spud are so fucking cool when they get into like talking about their life and stuff. It's so they're just so honest about stuff. It's really cool to hear. And something that a bunch of them were talking about is how, I mean, I'm sure because they're like doing podcasts and stuff, so they're like living this partially public life and stuff. And they were talking about how crazy strong the criticism comes at you from everyone when you start doing anything that is positive that isn't hurting anyone. If you're just trying to do something like have a podcast, there's just these fucking like demons out there that are just like, you're fucking, you suck, it's just like, it's inside you and it's all around you, these fucking people that are losers and they know that they suck and they just fucking come at you. And it's crazy, man, that it's crazy how strong that is. Because I was just listening to a couple days ago, exactly what kind of like, you reminded me of this because what you're saying about Goggins, like, I was listening to what's his name, Jocko Willink, who's very, very cool, fucking awesome guy.
Hey dudes, sorry for the interruption here. Just wanted to let you know if you want to join our pro team, go to romasteam.com/pro. You can help support the channel. You will also get access to exclusive content, masterminds, one-on-one sessions, etc. All right, back to the episode.
And it's the same thing, like, listening to Goggins or listening to Jocko, like a lot of people make fun of Jocko because he does like the black and white camera and he's all like serious and stuff. And like so many people, it's so easy to make fun of that in such a we're such a cynical time right now in culture and stuff that like everyone's like, the default is like, fuck that guy. He's just doing this to sell his stupid Jocko tea or whatever. But it's like, no, like he has like extremely fucking powerful advice. Like, and he's literally just trying to help people and like really seriously trying to help people. And it's like, yeah, it's crazy how strong that is like inside of us and inside of like culture and everything. Just this like, fuck you for even trying type of shit,
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't want to derail this conversation. Ray, I'm going to hop off if you want to lead from here and then shut down whenever you guys see fit. Love you dudes. I got to jet to a meeting. Thank you guys.
See you
later.
Hey Ray, can I share a win I have this week?
Go.
All right, so I kind of got back to Maine, didn't really have a direction, trying to figure stuff out. So just on a whim last week, I was like, let me just crack open Craigslist, see what's out there, right? Go. And I found a gig doing electrical work on a solar farm. So I'm like, all right, I have, 5-6 years of experience in electrical going way back now. But so I'm like, fuck it, I'll put my hat out there and through, sent him an email. Long story short, I ended up getting the job and it's offensive pay wise. It's, so very quickly it went from like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to be able to acquire capital, to open my business and do that. And I just landed this gig. It's $33 an hour, 50 hours a week, but it's also, they give you $150 a day tax-free per diem. So it ends up being like a little over $2,500 a week gross.
Wow.
And
that's fucking crazy, dude. That's fucking crazy. That's almost what I make per month, dude. You're fucking balling out of control, man.
Dude, I'm just super grateful. And the irony of it is that I am completely unqualified for this position. Wildly so. And in the past that would have held me back from even applying, because what I've always done before is like, oh, let me find a fucking dummy job. Let me find a job delivering shit. I can make $22 an hour. I don't have to worry about failing. I don't have to be afraid. I know it's beneath me, but playing it safe. And this is like, it's fucking nerve-wracking. I mean, hopefully I can be a hard enough worker and charismatic enough to be able to bullshit my way through the process, which I'm confident of, because the interviewer didn't even ask me any questions. We spent the whole time talking about the carnivore diet and this, that, and the other. And yeah, it's pretty sick too, man. That per diem, they only give it to you if you are so far away from the job site for travel. But I have 2 different addresses in very different parts of the state of Maine, and the girl's like, yeah, we'll just use whatever one and get to the per diem. So it's like, it's pretty cool.
Hell yeah, man.
But it was scary as shit, man, the whole thing. Even when I had to do the Zoom interview, even before that, I'm like, oh, fuck this. I'm not going to try. I'm going to get found out. And changing that attitude from playing safe to being willing to be like, all right, I very well could fail, and I still might. This might not work out, but it's like,
Yeah, man. What happens when you burn the fucking building down, dude?
Nah, it's
What are
very
you gonna
likely.
do?
The only person he's going to kill is himself. Don't worry.
No.
Don't touch two wires, dude. Mike, if you don't know what those two wires do, man, just leave them alone, dude. Just don't do it.
No, I'll be okay. I pick
Mike,
up things.
That is awesome, dude. And like, I want to come back to something you said a few minutes ago, because like you said something along the lines of like, about 10 minutes ago, you were talking about the stories we tell, the old stories we tell about ourselves, the old things we say about ourselves, right? And so like, I know that same here, like the old stories I tell myself get me applying for lower and lower and lower jobs on the ladder, right? And so I wonder, like, if you could give some advice to Luke, rather than the old stories he's telling himself as to why he has to get to the gym in the morning before work, what are some of the new stories? Like, I'm thinking like he can say like, I go to the gym before work because I am healthy.
Well, I think it starts with the wanting to be right, the wanting to feel good. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel good to do things that we haven't done before or regularly.
Wait, can I jump in here? Sorry, I'm sorry, Mike, but dude, I think what we've been saying this whole conversation is that's not the right question at all. The right question is, how do I not fall into this obvious pit of thinking my way through the situation? That doesn't work. Like, that's what I've been doing. That's why I've been very slightly succeeding recently, is because, like, this guy that I do work on the side for, he'll text me like, can you do this? And it's like, normally at my normal job I work nights, and he wants me to drive at like 7 in the morning, and I'm like, I'm gonna get 3 hours of sleep, and I don't even, I just say yes. I'm just like, yes, because I need to do it. I need the money. I'll fucking get a coffee or whatever. It doesn't, I'll fucking do it. It's not a big deal, right? Like, but that feeling to say no is very strong. When he texts me, that feeling is very strong. So I don't give myself time to be like, oh, I need to just make up an excuse or not answer him. I just say yes. I say yes immediately. I respond to the message, right, without thinking about it.
Well, and you know what? It's sometimes to get better, you got to get dumber, right? Like, and I've shared on here, recently I started down in North Carolina before I came back, going back to church. I was going to a Catholic church down there. I've been going to church up here with my girl, and when you actually sit there and listen, and you're not just trying to poke holes and shit, and you hear the message, it's always this overwhelming message of like faith and belief, and believe whatever you want to believe. If you want to put that outside of yourself or inside of yourself, but that you look at the text and you look at what they talk about most, it's not about hypervigilance or overworking or mastery or a competitive edge. And sometimes I feel like it's easy when you look at other areas of life as how you're going to get ahead. Those things, at least for me, always, I thought I had to be super hyper vigilant. I had to try to control everything that was in my locus of control, and that's how I would get ahead. Whereas kind of reframing it and looking like, well, is that really the thing that's going to get me ahead? Or maybe for you it is. Maybe you're a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you're all over the place. Maybe you're not organized. Maybe you need to get your shit together, and you have delusional self-belief already. But maybe for some of us, we have, we're pretty conscientious as a group, I would imagine, pretty self-aware. So are we actually imposing more limitations upon ourselves through the analysis and trying to be careful and calculated? And do we have to kind of increase our risk tolerance for failure? Because for me, I have such a resistance to putting myself in a position where I may fail. So I found that in the past, I would rather shoot lower where I know that I can at least meet the goal. And oftentimes, if I'm real honest, I'll shoot so low that I can exceed. Because then when I exceed, I feel good. See, I did it. See, I knew this is my limitation. Whereas getting more comfortable being like, all right, fuck it, let's test the waters now. Like that's where I used to be. Let me try to shoot higher, and maybe I can do it. But if I don't, now I have a new waypoint that now I can build the narrative from there, and then we're moving forward. But I think, at least for me, and you know, I found, you know, and this isn't religious, but just faith in general. You know, even if it is only faith in yourself or faith in whatever you want to put it in, it seems to be a lever. It seems to give you leverage on situations that I personally haven't used until very recently. I'm not sure what your experience has been with this, Ray, but I'd be curious to hear.
Well, it's, to me, it's the opposite of depression, right? And so, like, yeah, I have experience with depression where I do not feel faith that things are going to go well, optimism that things are going to go well, that there's any reason to try, right? And I'm not feeling especially depressed today, so I am feeling those enthusiastic feelings you're talking about.
Well,
And,
does it go up and down, Ray? Do you
oh, sure.
experience it? So,
Sure.
what have you found to? Because for me, in the past, I had really low lows, but when I was up, forget it. We were getting shit done. I'm taking over the world. Everything's gonna be great. But I think that's called what's that, Ray? Manic, right?
Yeah.
You know. So how do you find? Because for myself, sometimes, like, you don't want to slip into the manic side of things because then you're fucking annoying if nothing else. But you know, it's not healthy because then you know that the fall is going to come behind it. So I've been trying to slowly just create that upward angle through actions like Phil was talking about. You know, when the fucking guy hits you up, just say, yep. And then, you know what? I'll deal with the logistics of being tired and shit later. But at least now I'm seeing, like, all right, I'm taking a step I wouldn't usually take. So
Yeah.
I'd be curious to hear, you know, Luke and Ray, kind of what you guys have found to create that, you know, that gradual uptick, you know what I mean, without the big swings.
Mm-hmm. Luke, what do you think, man?
I suppose I don't. I think I might be the opposite to that, Ray, because I don't necessarily have really, really ups and really lows. I tend to run at a constant middle ground, which is good in a sense where it allows for kind of more consistent control, but you never get to experience any high highs either. So I'm quite dulled when it comes to that. That has its own problems, I think. So I don't really get overly excited or you know, happy about things, but I also don't get super bummed about anything either, if that makes sense. So, I mean, sometimes I wish I could tap into some form of a mania to really, you know, enjoy something or drive something on, but it's maybe it's a bit of a curse, but it's probably not the worst thing as well, because I can if something real bad happens, I can kind of just get on with it. It doesn't really pull me down too badly.
Yeah, well, I think the antidote there would be, like Phil and Mike have been saying, just saying yes. You know,
Luke, what are you what are you working towards right now? If you don't mind me asking.
What am I? What? Sorry.
What are some of your like most urgent goals right now?
My most urgent goals, I think, at the moment are to get back into shape. I've been lazy and getting fat, so I want to get that in order, because that gives me kind of a base level of confidence, which allows me to do other things. So I think the more I look into it, the more I'm realizing that we need just that modicum of confidence to spur into all of our other kind of degrees of stuff we're doing every day. So that's always worked for me. I recall back to times when I was in better shape and in better physical condition, and everything else just kind of lined up. So I feel like I'm off kilter a little bit with that. So that's my immediate goal. And then obviously to earn more money, to start a family, to buy my own house, the usual paths we follow.
So, Phil, I mean, Luke, can I ask you, have you ever been in like really, really good shape in the past?
Yeah.
Okay. So, because I agree with you. I think that when you're in really good shape, it just gives you that baseline of confidence.
Yeah.
That
because
you can operate from.
It's such a compounding effect, right? So when I was in my best shape and I felt my best, everything was everything was like, hey, do you want to go to this thing? Obviously, I'll go to that thing.
Luke, what were you doing? What were you doing when you were in your best shape? Like, were you in the gym? Were you team? Were you playing?
Yeah,
What was it?
I was kickboxing. I was powerlifting, combo of other things. I was eating better, and I was also for a summer I was doing block laying for builders. So I was in insane shape, and I just felt good. So everything felt good. So it's only now that I look back at that, because I've been doing a lot of kind of introspective thought, that I'm like, oh, I'm lazy because I'm kind of fat, and my body's not right, you
You
know,
just click the mouse all day now, right?
right? So I'm going to the gym now has become a challenge as opposed to something I look forward to. So I'm trying to flip that back on its head and get back to do what I used to do, because you probably know as well, Ray, or any of the guys, when you're not feeling confident in yourself, like going to social events or going to, extend past just your regular day, it takes a bit of a mental kind of, oh fuck, do I really want to go there? And I don't know what to wear that I look okay in, and I get in my head a lot with that shit. So I'm trying to get out of that, because it's such a bad place to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
not
like when
only
you're in
that, but
shape, you can wear anything and you look good in anything, because
It's such a, you don't even
doesn't
have to
really
think
matter.
about it, because I'm starting to think now that I agree with Mike, and I think it's the context here. The less decisions, or the less I have to think about things, the better life is, because it's not that we're dumbing ourselves down; it's that we're just removing unnecessary decisions and thought patterns. Like when you build those, I suppose, processes in your own life. But something simple, like if you look good and you feel good, you don't have to think about, oh fuck, I can't go out because that shirt I always wear that I look good in is not ready, or you don't even think about that shit. You're living. Because I don't know about you guys, but if I'm out, I'm feeling uncomfortable, I'm feeling kind of, I don't look good, then I don't know what I'm doing when I'm in the place. I'm thinking about myself there. And that's such a narcissistic trait in itself, because people are talking to you, they're enjoying themselves, and you're thinking, oh man, I wonder does anybody think I look shit here tonight? And you're like, what am I talking about? I'm already here. Well, it's too late, So that kind of stuff is such a bummer. So I'm trying to shed all that down, get in better shape, look better, feel better, and then everything starts to come into place. Because when you're fitter, you sleep better, you eat better, you work better, your mind is less. Because my mind at the moment is scrap, because it's okay in work, but outside of work it's done, because it's like cloudy and it's gross. So I'm trying to get that all kind of cleared up. It's like unclogging your gutters, that's what it feels like at the moment. So that's my priority numero uno.
So what's been your action plan?
So, well, this is the thing. So I've been back into it. I called down to an MMA gym that's beside me to see about that. And the guy said, come back this week and have a chat and see. And there's a boxing gym not far from me, and I'm trying to maybe see which one makes the most amount of sense. And I'm trying to get back into powerlifting. I really enjoyed that. That was fun. And then just general working out, because I found that me and my friend would always work out together, and one of us fell off, two of us would fall off. So I'm trying to build that. I'm trying to build that for myself now. So I'm not reliant on anybody. So if somebody wants to come and work in, fine. But this is my kind of routine, and come with me or don't, So I have to build that now. And once I get into that routine, Mike, I'm sure you're the same. It kind of just clicks in then.
I'll be honest. I find, because I've been heavily routine driven in the past, but in the last few years, I've been put in a position where I had to become hyper flexible. And I used to get a lot of comfort. I used to have a lot of structure. Like, I enjoy that. I like to, like, all right, I'm going to the gym the same time every day. We get back to work. We get this. We have this class at that time. I find that I'm trying to find more of an ability to be able to just pick up things and do whatever I can do when I can do them. And I think that a lot of times we put all of this weight on developing, okay, what's our program for working out? What's it going to look like? What days of this? What am I going to do then? Whereas at the fact of the matter is, I'm not sure what time it is on your end over there, Luke, but you can go to the fucking gym today. You can go do 30 minutes on the Stairmaster. You can go do 50 pull-ups, 50 pull-ups. You know what I mean? And then that way it doesn't always have to, because sometimes I would want to try to make something perfect before I executed it. You know what I mean? And what's the saying? A good plan executed violently is today is better than a great plan executed, 3 months from
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So, starting to take those action steps today would be excellent, not only for your goal, but I'd be curious, and feel free to shoot me a message on Discord, but I'd be curious to see how that changed your mental framework around it. Instead of being
Yeah.
this guy that has to fucking figure everything out before you do it, why not be the guy that goes, oh, okay, cool, I'm fatter than I want to be right now. Let's stop that today.
Yeah.
Because I'm working on a pretty complex project right now, and it's got a ton of moving parts. I've got other people involved in it. Ryan from here is on there helping me with some CNC work. So it's to look at that entire project, it's extremely daunting. And I'm like, and like then I want to just be like, well, I'll make the plan to attack that project fucking tomorrow or whenever, and then it'll be perfect. But then I'll look at it and be like, all right, well, what is something I can do right now? All right, I can get this account set up with this supplier so we can get this stuff in for that project. I can send this email, and at least then I'm still anxious, but at least I'm anxious and some shit has gotten done that there's less to do down the road. So I'm trying to apply that to all areas of my life instead of going through an analysis of being like, well, what do I got to fix? What do I got to figure out? How do I do that? Let's break it down. And that's great to make a plan. Plans are excellent. But sometimes I think that, at least for myself, action is where I can drop the ball. I can create. Everybody wants to break out the fucking yellow pad and write down the fucking plan of how they're going to start the business or how they're going to build the perfect routine for working out. And I'm going to be this. And then we all sit on the couch and go, whew, that was a lot of work putting that plan together. It's almost like we give ourselves an escape because if
that's
we're
such
planning,
an easy win. Yeah, it's the whole idea. Like, oh, I've done something, or I've worked towards this goal. You haven't done anything. You've done no action. Like, and the whole idea that perfection is the enemy of good, because you're focusing so much around making it 100% before you even started that everybody else has started. You're behind. You haven't even got off the fucking.
It's
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. No, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. My bad.
No, it's exactly that, Mike. Like, I got up this morning. I was awake at 5:30, into the gym before work, getting in, just seeing how that worked, because I'm not normally a morning person, but now I've kind of come. I'm also not a nighttime person, so I got to pick fucking something, right? So I'm doing the morning because I'm waking up now without my alarm clock now at like 6 a.m. So why not peel it back a little bit, get into the gym, get an hour done. I might be falling asleep in my chair by 7 p.m., but so what? At least I'm not sitting up doing nothing from 7 p.m. At least I'm doing something that's working towards a goal. And it's kind of, you don't want to do it because it's hard, but then you do it and you're like, okay, it wasn't really hard, but it also wasn't really, it's nothing. You just go and do it. So I think the guys that are talking about, you always hear these guys, just fucking do it, or just go and do it. Like, there's a rationale behind that. It's the whole thing of like, how will it make me feel? How long until it's good? It's not. Just do it, and
Right.
That's, I'm kind of starting to come around to that. Like, even the way Wes is talking, Ray, you gave me a kick up the ass on Friday. You're like, go and do these things, go and look into these things, and it does, because you're accountable then. Because then I'm like, if I come on the call on Monday and Ray asks me these questions and I have nothing to say, I feel like an idiot. So I need that level of accountability. Some people are able to self-regulate or be self-accountable. I don't have that luxury, I think. So it's good to do something like this. And Ray, I don't know if you feel the same with this
100%.
group, the accountability.
100%. That's the power of the team.
Yeah.
Right.
Ray, check this out. You'll appreciate this. I got these new tattoos, right? On my knuckles.
Vita,
and Moors.
life and death.
Everything else in your hands.
Wow, good. I like that.
Every time I look at my fucking hands, it's like, am I making my life experience better or worse? Am I becoming closer to the version of myself I want to be, or am I making myself feel right and correct? And you probably don't need to go that far. Maybe like tie a ribbon around your fucking thumb. But
you can journal it.
yeah. But I find that I love this conversation because I think that it's easy to intellectualize the process and think that, oh, I'm learning about myself. And this call is supposed to be a group of men that are aggressively moving forward in life through action. It's not a fucking circle jerk to make us all feel like we're doing good things, right? And I say that as someone who has changed my trajectory multiple times since being on this call. But I think that if we're always aggressively taking action in pursuit, that's also the best way that you're going to find out where the sticking points are, because we can only theorize and plan for so many things until we start taking action and letting things get fucked up along that plan. And that, I think, at least for me, I would in the past I would way too heavily weight preparation over execution.
Yeah.
And then because you're going to have to change course no matter how good your plan is, so you might as well, I mean, have a plan, but go into it kind of almost foolishly and overclock the work and get it moving.
Yeah.
I think
honestly,
go ahead.
Honestly, part of why I haven't been coming to these meetings recently is because I've been kind of feeling like when I come in here and talk and don't do anything, like a lot of times I'll come in here and I'll be all charged up and stuff. Literally the second the call is over, I have no interest in working anymore. I have zero interest. And it's literally I'm literally just jerking my fucking ego off in here, and I have zero interest. I have negative interest in actually doing anything, and that's why I don't want to come in here, because I'm like, it's not good for me. And I think, like what we've been saying, everyone's already said this already, but like when you make a plan, you get that ego hit, and you feel like you worked, and you didn't do anything. And I think really like Luke was just saying, like, to me, it's like, I want to make these meetings productive for me, and I want to really make sure I fight against that, because that's been a big force in my life, to be like thinking about my cool things that I have in my head, and like it's not a reality, and I need to make sure that I'm not contributing to that in my life, that I'm like getting that hit and feeling like that dopamine and not actually getting it from anything real, So,
well, I like your self accountability, Phil. I would also say that, like, you create a lot of value for the men in this group, and so I want you to come back every week. I know what you're saying, though, where you feel kind of like a phony if we get pumped up about, kicking ass, and then we just sit back in our baby crib and we don't do anything. Like, I understand that. I have weeks like that, months like that. I have years like that too. But like, I have seen the dividends it pays when you are on the path of progress. I remember the first time you came into this group, which must be almost like a year ago now. You immediately got a haircut and shaved, right? Which means you were at some kind of threshold for action, right? Or some kind of rock bottom. And so I guess we in a way, yeah, like if I can just wrap up what Mike and Luke have been saying, is just like, and what you have been saying is like, act first and think later, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Just like err on the side of action.
That's it.
And so, Luke, are you going to take action on either wealth, health, relationships, or enjoying the process this week?
I'm taking action on health from now on as a default, I think. That's my action, but I'm taking action on wealth as well. I've got some opportunities coming up that I need to expand my skill set. So I'm looking into learning more, becoming more useful in the space I'm in, and taking advantage of those opportunities.
Awesome.
What about you, Way?
Well, I want to hear a team component to those two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At some point, because I think so. Because, for example, like as a member of my church, I'm in the choir and I hand out the basket and I'm an usher. And as a member of my AA, several AA meetings, like there is a team component that keeps me sober and keeps me meditating or spiritual or prevents me from isolating. And then in terms of wealth, yeah, Mike, I'm going to continue to like apply for jobs that I typically would talk myself out of
Good.
applying for, because the reality is, I don't decide whether I'm a good fit for the job, they do. And all I can do is apply. And of course I'm a good fit for the job.
Good.
Hell yeah.
Phil, take some action this week, man. What do you want to do?
I'm going to keep working, trying to make money mostly. I would like to take action towards health. I do need to take action towards health and also, making my personal projects and stuff.
How are you going to take action on health, Phil? Tell us. What are you going to do?
I think I got to get to the gym. I don't know. I'm really hesitating to say anything because I just feel like that. Like I'm saying, like I don't want to do it, and I don't know if I'm going to. So it pisses me off to say I'm going to commit to something and that.
Get it out.
I need to get to the. Okay. So the number one thing. Sorry, Luke. The number one thing about health right now that's really fucking me up is my back is so fucked up that that's actually the number one reason I've been skipping out on some days of work, because my lower back is fucked up. Like I literally can't. Like a lot of times I can't bend down and pick something up without like grabbing onto something. So my lower back is fucked up, and I can't figure out how to fix it. Like it's become a huge problem. I don't know. It's crazy how bad my back is. Yeah, I need to do like yoga or some shit. I don't know. Probably yoga is the main thing I need to do.
Good.
All right, man. You know what to do. Mike, you going to take action this week or what, buddy?
Yeah, come on, man. We're already in it.
Come on.
We're already in it, man.
Week's half over.
My life has gotten very, very busy and changed very much in the last couple of weeks. So getting everything wrapped up here on the job side, hopefully starting that next week or perhaps a week after. So that'll be a big change. Taking action on that. That's helps to kind of pad the income. In the process of moving to northern Maine, which is about 2.5, 3 hours away from where I am now.
Right in time for winter?
Yeah. Why not? So moving back in with my girl after 7 years. So that's a big change, new exciting family front there. So, taking those steps and that's a big project too. I'm building an additional house on the property. So we're working on that. But
nice.
Yeah, man, it's there's a lot of things and it's overwhelming and it's scary and I have no idea how I'm gonna manage it all. But I just am gonna keep trying and it's like I guess through all the bullshit we've all been through, I guess one thing that I've figured out is that I have resilience and resourcefulness. So even when shit gets fucked up, I can usually be resilient enough to manage it and resourceful enough to find a way out of it. And that's kind of what I'm leaning on, laying more into that than trying to be the guy that has the best plan or the most prepared or that doesn't do anything wrong. Because I'd rather do wrong things along the path. And I will say this. I love Phil enough to tell him to fucking take action. Do it. Stop fucking jerking yourself off. You got so much more capacity than you ever showed, dude. And I think that I would love that, more of that on this team. People calling each other out in a loving, healthy, supportive way, because I need it just as much as anyone else. I don't come here for the accolades. I come here to listen to people that have more insight where I'm lacking, and hopefully I can offer the same to others and reciprocity. But I think we all really just need to make a concerted effort to move the ball in some direction this week, wherever that may be. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but You know, fuck it, Luke. You know what I mean? During your lunch break, or you got a 10-minute fucking dead spot in the day, get down on the floor, bang out some push-ups, do some body weight squats. You know what I mean? Walk, pace around the house like a lunatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's the real thing. Like if you're thinking like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, like fucking do it right where you're standing. Like you don't need to go to the fucking gym to get a workout. Like if you really want the goal, you can do it right where you're standing.
Well, MFG, thank you for that call to action. We're gonna raise our hands and stop the circle jerk. We're gonna get after it. We're gonna take action in our lives because no one else will. It's up to us, and we'll reconvene on Friday and let us know how it's gone. All right. All right, let's roll. Okay, Mike's getting a head start.
Okay.
Let's go.
Action over perfection, huh?
Absolutely. All right, guys, get after it.
Take it easy.
Later.